check on my chickens. And we got the turkey families coming through. They're so funny. Look at this. All right, teaching some family lessons here, I guess. What the heck? That's funny behavior. Little pecking order going on. You belong over here, you belong over there, I'm the boss. And they're right next to my chickens. These are some silver-laced Wyandottes. Doing really good. I had a homemade chicken tractor for 5.5 years, and I finally went to the omelet, which is a much easier one to move. So my daughter can move it by herself if I'm away. Nice system. I'll give you a little tour. Walk down here and see if the turkeys take off. All right, guys, please eat all the ticks. Thank you very much. These are my girls. They are 2-year-olds. I specifically picked the Wyandottes because they are really winter hardy. You can see they have the rose comb, and they don't get frostbite so easy. And we got 7 girls in here. And they are, you know what, pretty darn good layers. So this chicken tractor is so cool. Expensive, but I figure I'm gonna get years and years of use out of it. And it took me like, I think it took me over 50 hours to assemble. But it's got an automatic door. And if the automatic door doesn't work, you can just pick this thing up right here and then flip this door. Get that one right in the butt. But you could close it manually if you needed to. And it's got these, here I'll show you. Get my rakes out of the way. You can see right inside. And here she comes. And nesting boxes over here on the side. That gives daylight there, that window, which is really important for chickens for laying. Waking them up in the morning. And these panels come off, so the whole back comes off. These are clean out trays. Just lift up on this and you can just dump these off. Slide them back in. It's got feeders and waterers. I don't use those on the back door here. Well, I do. I put grit and I put ground up eggshells. Save all the eggshells. Nesting boxes. See right in. Where is she? Oh yeah, right there. She wants to come in and lay. I just took the eggs out already this morning. And this whole thing moves real easy by, you just step on these here. Step on that. And it comes right off the ground on those wheels. And then you just pick it up by these handles up here to move it. So it's like really pretty awesome. Put this shade on it. Try to keep them here under the trees in the summertime, but and then I use the bucket feeder made out of a pickle bucket because it lasts a lot longer. Yep. And then a ground waterer, and I put this on a heater in the wintertime. So, and these girls are laying 5 to 7 eggs a day right now. They're not the biggest egg producers, but really nice eggs, really hardy chickens. And this is a very friendly flock, meaning these girls don't pick on each other. I had the flock before this. I don't know if it's because I had so many different breeds, but man, they picked on each other a lot. So no wounds. Very talkative, very friendly. Yeah, here's a little look at my old chicken tractor. So the run here is obviously all the way attached to the coop. Basically, we can just lift up and we take the chain and a carabiner, and that just kind of goes down into place, and the whole tractor, as you can see, is a few inches off of the ground. In the winter time, if it's really cold out, we can just drop this down, nesting material in there, and they're closed up for now because we don't want the chickens in there before they're egg layers. And then these are our electric fence, so it just started charging up the battery in the sun today. It's a solar electric fence, and this is going to be a predator guard. Actually, it's funny because Trapper Snore is my big project now with my YouTube channel, but years ago when I built my chicken tractor, I got my most watched video is this chicken tractor video of the chicken tractor I built during COVID, sort of a coping project, but it got a little bit too much for my knees to move myself, where this one I can move a lot easier. It's less physically demanding. And we love having fresh chicken eggs, right girls? Yep. Well, thanks for watching the side tour here. We're going to check some trail cameras. You know why I have so much abundant fur bearers in my backyard and around this farmland here in upstate New York is because of these turkeys and rabbits and squirrels and groundhogs, and there's so much natural food around here. That's why the bobcats are around here. That's why our predators are doing really well, because our habitat has a really high carrying capacity. And yeah, these animals are very abundant. Foxes, I should really go after them hard this year, because they're just like every half mile, you know, every square half mile, there's another family. It's amazing. Love it. Not my girls though, not my girls. They are safe in the chicken tractor. And this guy has these cool, I don't know what you call them, ground extensions. So all around the chicken tractor. So critters basically don't know that if you can't dig up close to the fence, you should move out a foot. So yeah, and the wires are really close together at the bottom here, so the coons can't get their hands in and strangle the chickens. Yeah, it's really good design. Obviously, I keep a close eye on them. I have the ring camera up solar here, and then I got one inside the coop there, so when I'm away, I can check on them.
I was just sharing with Dan that I got my first bobcat this last trapping season. First, and I thought he was quite a big one, probably about 35 pounds. Very exciting.
Long.
Yeah, happy to get him mounted.
And here's what's interesting. How did you catch him?
In a have a heart. Yeah, very, very unsuspecting.
Yeah, what was in there?
We put a woodchuck in there in
Oh.
hopes of getting maybe really anything like a fox.
The predators that,
exactly.
yeah, you're farming, so you're protecting your what, chickens or turkeys or
Yeah, you name
anything?
it. We got chickens, goats, we have baby Nigerian dwarfs, so they're very susceptible to coyotes and foxes and such. So
Yeah.
you know, we actually had a coyote and a have a heart.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know, just unsuspecting, but this guy was not expecting.
So that coyote must have been super hungry. The cats are actually known to go into cages pretty easy. Out west, they do a lot of trapping of bobcats in cages. So how big was the have a heart?
You know what? Probably about 4 foot.
Yeah.
Probably 4 foot long.
Yeah.
So probably about yay big. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Open on one end.
So you, what was your thoughts when you walked up on that?
Oh, just unreal. I mean, I was always hopeful to get a bobcat because that was kind of, I feel like the neatest thing to get mounted, and also, I know that they, eat a lot in the area, so
Yeah,
just
well,
totally surprised.
one of the things that, a lot of people don't know is that the Hudson Valley is really abundant with bobcats. We're the second largest bobcat harvest in the state of New York. I don't know what last year's was, but the last count I saw was like a 2022 or something, and there's 75 bobcats were taken just here in the Hudson Valley, and they're still doing really well. So that's a cool story.
Awesome.
What are you gonna do with that bobcat?
Oh yeah, he's in the freezer right now. I'm gonna have him mounted for sure.
Awesome. Hey, that was my friend Brian. He's a local farmer in the Hudson Valley, and last year I went in with a bunch of other folks in an auction and bought his daughter's 4-H hog, which was wonderful. And she stopped by to tell us about this year's hog, so that's pretty cool. Right now, I'm in Canada. I'm in Quebec, and this is a beaver pond behind me. I'd like to say I'm like scouting for trapping. It'd be pretty cool to see what it's like up here. So Brian's a new trapper, and he showed us that bobcat he got. But what's interesting anyways about his farm right now is he's haying, and the coyotes are coming out and feeding on the newly exposed mice in the meadows every time he goes out and hays. If he stays on the tractor, it's just like if you're on an ATV and going through the woods and the deer don't care. The coyotes don't really care when he's out there on the tractor, and he's been watching the pups grow and the adults, and as soon as he gets off the tractor though, they take off. And same thing happens for me in the backyard when I'm mowing, especially the little fox pups and stuff. They just walk right by you because they don't have a concept of fearing the mower. So anyways, thought I'd share those clips with you. It's pretty cool to watch, and I'm sure once fall comes, if Brian starts setting some footholds out there along those same trails where the coyotes are, he'll probably catch some. I don't see any fresh beaver sign out here, but I've passed a couple of lodges. Looks like there's a bit of a trail right down in there, but I don't know if that's people. This is a national park up here in Canada, and it's pretty quiet. Have not seen any other Americans, so I've been pratiquer parler le français, practicing speaking my French up here. I worked in France years ago, so it's nice to actually use the language a little bit. There's that taste of Europe here with the boulangeries, and we got some nice sourdough bread and croissant. Yeah, just a short visit, but really nice up here in the summer. I realize I could have just lied to you and told you I'm in Quebec, so here is the French sign warning about the raccoons and the park here. I'm still up in Canada, just on a little tour of the village of Magog and having some great food. And you know what's really cool? Willie is completely crashed out here at the table. Oui, le chèque, s'il vous plaît. C'était délicieux, parfait.
Merci.
Merci. Yeah, I know this has nothing to do with trapping, but it's a pretty cool trip up here, and there is such a big tradition in fur harvesting in Quebec. In fact, the beavers that are in New York are connected to the beavers from Quebec, because if you learned this in a previous video, in 1842, we basically ran out, you know, there was no control on trapping, and the United States was essentially trapped out of beaver. And so in, I think it was 1905, they brought, or 1915, something like that, the New York DEC brought 15 beavers from Quebec down to New York in the Adirondacks. So I'm a pastry chef too, and whenever I go places, I like to try different desserts. So we had this pudding chameau. It's a traditional Quebec pudding. I had to try it, and growing up in Vermont, I'm surprised I never even knew about it. But it's a very homey, like warm vanilla cake. It comes out on an iron griddle, and there's like a pool of caramel sauce under it, and then vanilla ice cream and like a crispy Tweedle cookie on top. Here's a picture right here. Yeah, so yeah, very delicious. I can see how that's a traditional regional classic dessert. But other than that, I just had the best fish tacos I've ever had in my life. It was crispy fried cod with a cabbage, sort of like a marinated white cabbage, and of course an aioli sauce and cilantro, but just simply perfect. We're stopping at the church, St. Patrice, Magog. Those 15 beavers became 15,000 in short order. And you know, it's a proof about the sustainable, natural, organic, and renewable resource that we already went to the full extent of trapping, especially beaver, to near extinction. And now, since the 1940s, we've had regulations, and the population continues to grow. So it's proof that our renewable resource is doing well, the animals are abundant, and we're able to do regulated, ethical trapping to secure the resource. I am going to have a talk with the president of Fur Takers of America probably in another week, so maybe you'll see that episode coming out next. Jason Wisniewski is a wildlife biologist and a real supporter of all of us. Okay, I said my prayers and I'm very grateful. Hey, Willie. Good boy. Good boy, buddy. Willie and I are right now out on the beautiful Lake Champlain. We're on this bike trail that crosses the lake and doing some morning fishing. But of course, always thinking about trapping. No fish yet. Just got here. Kind of wish I had some live bait, even worms. I'm just throwing spinners out and see what happens. But I'm on this little passway here. This is where the boats come through the bike trail, and there's actually a ferry that carries the bikes. I'm guessing the ferry's going to show up soon, but there's a flag on that pole over there that you can put up when you need a bike ride across. And the ferry will meet you right out here, and it'll just take you on over to that side. It's pretty cool. It's all non-profit, I think, almost volunteer based. There's a lot of volunteers run the ferry. But what a beautiful morning on the lake. I know this has been a bit of a scattered episode. I just took some clips along the way, but honestly, I'm always thinking about trapping and supporting trappers, and I hope everybody's having a great summer. It's one of these things that I realize has become my my lifestyle, and hopefully more into my retirement, supporting trappers. I had a question come into trappersnore.com, and I'll probably throw this in the community too. But Greg was asking, why do you put pieces of roof shingle on your Bobcat trap pan sets? What I did last year was I used sandpaper. And let's back up a little. The reason for this is to give a nice clean target for the Bobcat to set its foot on. Out west, as a lot of trappers know, the western Bobcat trappers just use a pan exposed, and sometimes even a larger pan. And the Bobcat trapping I did out west with Chappie, we used almost a completely exposed pan, just a little bit of duff or debris on there to sort of blend it in a little bit. So I was kind of going off of that, but in New York State, our law requires us to cover our trap. So rather than just put a little debris on there and be sort of borderline, instead I covered it with the sandpaper. And I caught some cats, and it definitely worked out fine. Well, not completely fine. The one thing that went wrong was the sandpaper, when it got moist, it would curl a little bit. Even though I started using, it's not sandpaper, but it's the tape that you use for non-slip walking surfaces. And I would just clip off a piece and tape it right on. But in the cold weather, the tape did not stick very well, and I still had some curl. So it was semi-successful. This year, I figure I'm going to do shingles because they're waterproof and they're not going to bend on me. And I'm going to try to find something light. And yeah, just playing around with that. So thanks for the question, Greg. I think is a 60-year-old trapper, but a beginner and trying to hit his bucket list and do some trapping. So feel free to join the community and give your feedback to Greg's question. I'm sure there's a lot of trappers out there that have some better ideas and answers for this. Oh, and many of you ask about Willie, and just wanted to let you know, Willie just went swimming for the first time in his life. He is a 1 year and almost 4-month-old trapper doodle. Really, he's a multi-poo, but I call him a trapper doodle. And he's pretty good. Like, he's not afraid of things, and he got in the water and swam a little bit. Now, it's not what he would prefer to do. He's not going to just dive right in unless I'm on the other side and he has to get over to me, which I kind of like, because last year he did get caught in a trap, and that was one that was a muskrat set, a 1.5 foot hold in a swamp, and I did not expect him to go into the water, and he did. So I like that, he doesn't prefer to go in. I'm glad that he's not afraid of the elements, whatever they are. Cold, wet, hot, whatever. He just wants to be with me out here, which is cool. Thank you, buddy. Otherwise, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for watching the videos. I promise as we get into the season, the content's going to be more and more exciting. But right now, I'm just happy to support trapping however I can and put a little content out in the off season of what's going on. Coming up, I'm going to be working in the fur shed again, trying to get my winch up onto the ceiling and set up my new skinning station. And that's a bit of an experiment, but I think it's going to work out pretty good. And also, this is pretty exciting. I have a fish education talk with somebody who's, really established in the trapping world. In fact, he's the president of the Fur Takers of America, Jason Wisniewski. And we're going to have a talk. Jason is a wildlife biologist, and I always feel like science is one of trappers' best friends. And I love to talk to people who have really studied science and really have some, deep core facts about how science and fur harvest helps wildlife conservation. So we're going to meet up with Jason and look forward to that one. Until then, guys, hey, remember, guys and gals, trappers snarl. Sustainable, natural, organic, and renewable resource. See you soon.